Structural integrity is when there is a mutually reinforcing positive relationship between these three areas. If you will, each keeps the other in check, and they're not discordant from one another. However, I would assert that for most cultural nonprofits, economic values have long been dominant and have been crowding out aesthetic and ethical values, not least of which because the bottom line gets the most attention from boards of directors, and as a result, becomes a kind of proxy for success in the institution. What's the evidence of this? Most boards have finance and audit committees and dedicate considerable time at each meeting to understanding the financial position of the organization. Boards are equipped and comfortable setting limits on, for example, how far over budget or into debt an arts organization may go. They may set targets for reserves or endowment. They might fail to approve a budget that is not balanced and may ask executive leaders to make cuts if income is falling short. They might implement give or get policies, many do, and recruit board members with high capacity to contribute to ensure that the organization is able to reach its income targets each year. On the other hand, how many cultural nonprofits have explicit, sophisticated, depth conversations at the board level in order to understand or come to agreement on the organization's aesthetic values or ethical principles? Even more pointedly, how many organizations hold their own feet to the fire by establishing policies or processes aimed at including these in decision making? I'm thinking here of the kinds of policies or processes that might enable or compel staff or board members to ask awkward questions when, for example, a season is announced at a theater and there are 0 writers or directors of color in the lineup, as was the case in a major theater in the US who had a mission to represent the diversity of New York City in its programming. Or when a pandemic hits and the decision is made to lay off all of the teaching artists, but hold on to marketing and development staff. Arguably, a nonprofit cultural institution should be distinguished from its commercial entertainment counterparts, right? And one of the ways we might expect it to be distinguished is in ensuring that economic decisions are made in service of, or within the limits and full consideration of, a clear set of guiding principles, aesthetic and ethical, or policies around these for decision making. We all have values. We put them on the website, we can list them, we memorize them, we maybe carry them in our hearts and think about them day and night. But if you don't spend time in discussion interpreting those values and what they mean in action, they are of little use. Without such conversations and definitions and parameters that might be set because of them, economic exigencies will invariably hold sway, and loosely defined aesthetic and ethical values will be stretched to make economics work, which is what this slide, this stretched triangle, is demonstrating.